nose, exhale from our mouths. One last exhale through our mouths. And then we'll seal our lips. Inhaling and exhaling from our nose. And then keeping our sitting bones moving in toward the ground, we'll lift from the top of the head, inhaling here, lengthening all through our spine. And then as we exhale, we'll just move our chin over to one shoulder. And then back to the center, and then over to the other shoulder. And inhaling back to the center, and with our breath just moving side to side, slowly working some of those crackles. And we'll do one more to each side. And then we'll find ourselves back to the center and inhale, lifting the nose. And exhale, lowering the chin. Inhaling, lifting. And exhaling, lowering. Good, let's do one more up. And one more down. And we'll keep our chin low, and we'll just draw like a little smile with our chin along our collarbone, moving over to one shoulder, and then back around to the other shoulder, making sure that we are nice and relaxed in our shoulder girdle. Let those buddies just drop away from our ears. And let's do one more to each side. And then we'll lower back to the center and let our head rise back up. Good. Let's inhale, lift those hands up high. Oh, exhale, we'll let them come back behind us, opening up the chest. Good, one more time. Inhale, up. Exhale, back, open, and down. We'll let the left hand stay where it's at, and the right hand is going to reach back behind and see if we can touch the opposite hip with the back of our hand. And then our left hand can just kind of hold it steady. We'll lower that right shoulder. And then we'll move our head over to the left, opening up inside that right shoulder, neck area. Good. And then we'll lift the head, release the hands. Give ourselves a big inhale, lift the hands up high, another big circles with those shoulders. Good. And back around. And now we'll take that left hand and reach back behind. See if we can find the opposite hip. Right hand can hold it steady. Big inhale, and as we exhale, just let that left shoulder drop away. And then our head can move over to the right. It's great to see so many of you here today. I appreciate it. Do 2 more breaths. In deep and out completely. And then we can lift our head, release the hands. Again, inhale, let's lift high. And then exhale, let's bring the chest forward as we lower down into a fold. And then we drop the head, we let that spine round as we roll our way up to the top. And let's bring those feet out in front of us, flexing the toes, making sure those sitting bones are still pressing down into the mat. Let's inhale and lengthen all the way into the spine. And then as we exhale, we hinge at the hips, bringing our chest forward toward those toes. Hands can find our legs. We can walk our way down our shins. What we're looking for is a nice flat back as we fold forward. Good, and then we'll drop the head and again, roll our way up. All the way to seated. Inhale, hands come up high. Let's do another forward fold. Exhale, chest come toward those toes. When we can't go any further and we need some help, we use those hands on our shins or on our thighs. Our breath helps us to elongate and then to fold. And then dropping the head, rounding, rolling our way up. And now we'll swish our feet over to one side. So our right foot or our right shin is going to be out in front of us. Our left foot will come back by our butt. So we've got like a little bit of a S in our legs. Flexing that right foot out in front of us. Hands will come in front of that shin. And we'll just slowly begin to sink down into a fold here. And helping ourselves back up to the top. Let's keep that right hand down on the floor by our hip. The left hand is going to sweep all the way up and around. We'll begin to look around toward that right shoulder. The left hip will want to come up. That's great. We'll create a long line all the way from our knee to our fingers as we reach. And now let's lower that left hand to meet the right over here to the side as we continue to work our shoulders around. A little twist here. We're encouraging the twist. We're not forcing ourselves to do something that we're not ready to do yet this morning. We inhale, we lengthen, exhale, we relax and twist. And then we'll slowly walk those hands around to the center again and back down to a forward fold. And then from here, helping ourselves back up. And we'll move our focus over to this left knee. We're going to press that buddy down into the floor. Hands will come back behind. And we're just going to try and elongate those quads as best we can, pressing the knee down to the floor, walking ourselves backwards, lengthening in the hips, proud chests. Hands can stay on the floor, or we can come down to an elbow if we would like, without letting that knee come up. It's not about how low we go back in our upper body. Good, and then we'll help ourselves back up. Hands come forward. And we'll just hang out with our hands on the floor. We don't want to come too terribly far down. And now we're going to start to wiggle this left leg back behind us, about halfway. And then begin to turn that left hip forward as we exhale and we relax. Good. And then we'll work that knee back forward, and then we'll bring the foot out in front of us. Right foot comes into the thigh. We're going to turn our shoulders in front of that left leg and then slowly fold into this left leg. Good. Slowly, we'll help ourselves up to about halfway so our hands can be on our knee or on our shin. Our right hand will find the outside of that leg, and then the left hand will reach back behind for a bit of a twist as we fold. And then both hands come back forward. And then we'll roll our way back up to the top. And now we'll switch that S to the other direction. So now the left shin is parallel to us in the front. Left foot is flexed, and we'll just tuck that right foot back by our butt. Keeping those hips nice and open, we'll work our way down into a forward fold here. Using our breath and our hands to help steady us as we fold down. Wake up this left hip a little bit. Good, and now let's come all the way back up. Our left hand will find the floor by our hip, right hand reaches over, and this right hip will follow as we reach and look over toward our left shoulder. And now let's lower that right hand to meet the left and continue with the twist as we inhale, we lengthen, exhale. Moving those shoulders toward the left a little bit further. No. Good, and now let's walk our hands back around to the center and fold again. Roll our way up. Bring our focus to this right knee as our hands come back behind. We press the right knee into the floor. Elongate all the way up our thigh into our hips. Open up that chest. Two more breaths here. And then on our next inhale, we'll help ourselves up and we'll fold forward again. Good, we'll come up to our hands and we'll begin to wiggle this right leg back about halfway. We're not going all the way to pigeon, just halfway. We're just prepping for it, bringing this right hip forward. And then slowly we exhale and we sink down toward the floor. Good, and then we'll begin to wiggle that right knee back forward, and we'll bring the foot out in front of us. And we'll work toward that forward fold over here on our right leg. So chest is centered over the right leg. We can inhale, lengthen, exhale, bringing that chest forward as we work toward the toes. Good, dropping the head, we roll our way up. Good. And then exhale, we'll go about halfway, and our left hand will find the outside of that right leg. And then the right hand will reach back behind into a little twist. We inhale, we lengthen, exhale, we twist, and we can continue to fold a little bit further. Inhale here. And we exhale. And then we'll bring both hands out in front of us. And we'll roll our way up. Good. Let's swish those feet back behind us, and we'll come up onto our tabletop. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. Knees are under our hips. Fingers are wide in our hands, pressing into the floor, opening up the shoulder blades back behind us. We tilt our pelvis just the tiniest a bit to open up that low back. Good. And now we'll extend the right leg back behind us. Foot is flexed, and we'll place those toes on the floor so we can get the calf. So we'll press the heel back behind us, using those hands to help open up the calf, our toes, our arch. Good. And now let's lift those toes up off of the floor, and we'll bring that foot all the way around to a little lunge. Take our time to wiggle into where we're at today. Sinking those hips down as we exhale, we lift the heart. Good, and now let's lift up that right hand. And now as we exhale, we'll bring that right hand down. We're going to reach through underneath the left hand, like we're just about to pull the tag off of our shirt. We just got a new shirt, and we're trying to pull that one out of the armpit. Good, and then inhale, we lift. And then exhale, we reach for that goofy tag under our arm. And inhale, we lift. Exhale, thread through. Let's do that one more time. Inhale up. Exhale, reaching through. And then we'll bring both hands back down to the floor. Good. One more little breath here in our lunge. And now let's come back to our child's pose. Hands are out in front of us. Let's inhale to a little plank. Exhale, we lower ourselves down. And we have a choice here. We can come up to a baby cobra, or if we're feeling it, we can come all the way up to upward facing dog. And then let's come back to our child's pose. Good. And back to our tabletop. Good. Nice neutral spine. We'll press that left leg back behind us. We'll put those toes to the floor and we'll open up the calf on the left-hand side. Good. Now let's lift those toes up and we'll swing the leg all the way around for our lunge on this side. Again, settle in, find where we're at here today. This side may feel different than the other side, and that is totally okay. And then when we're ready, let's lift up that left hand for our twist. Good. And now as we exhale, lowering the left hand, we'll reach through. And then inhale, we come up. And then exhale down and through. And inhaling up. And exhaling through. One more time. Inhale, we lift. And exhale, we reach through. And then we'll place that left hand back down onto the mat. Sink in one more time in this lunge. And let's step back for a child's pose. Good. From here, let's keep our hips over our heels and we'll walk our hands over to a side. And then we'll walk over to the other side. And back to the center. Arms are out in front of us, fingers are wide. Let's inhale up to a little plank. Exhale, we lower down. And we get to choose our back bend. We can do a little cobra. We can come up to upward facing dog. We can even do sphinx. Exhale, let's lower down. Hands underneath of our shoulders, pressing back to our child's pose. Let's inhale up and bring that right leg forward again. And this time we'll help ourselves up to a high half lunge. Hands can come up to the sky. Opening up that chest. We can do a tiny little back bend into crescent lunge if we like. Good, and now let's take that right arm back, reach the left hand forward. Little twist here, continue to sink into that lunge, lift the heart, drop the shoulders. Good, hands come back up to the top. And then we'll lower them back down. Good, exhale, let's bring those hips back over our heel and we'll go into a half split. Lifting the right toes up off of the floor. We're hinging at the hips again, so we're pointing that butt back behind us. Hands can come to our thigh, to our shin. If we can get to the floor, cool, without hunching our back. Really looking to get that chest all the way to the toes. Good, let's inhale forward. And now exhale, we come back. That little split again. Inhale, we'll come forward. And now this time as we come back, we're going to keep the toes on the floor. So we may not be able to straighten the leg nearly as long as we could with the toes coming up, and that's okay. We're looking to open up the tops of the feet. Good, and coming on forward. Good. And now we're going to keep our left hand on the floor. We're going to open up our foot on the right hand side, open up the knee. Our right hand can reach up to the sky, or it can begin to reach back behind us, which will encourage that knee to come around. We're going to lower this left hip toward the floor, lift our hearts, and open up this right knee. And slowly we come back. And now with this right hand, we're going to reach back and find our left foot for corkscrew. Pull that left foot in toward our booty. And then we'll gently release the foot. Right hand comes down, right foot goes back. That's fine, child. Good, let's come up to our little plank. We'll bring that left foot forward for our lunge. Sink down into that lunge. Find where we're at. And then we can come up to a high lunge when we're ready. Hands can come to the thigh. We can come to prayer. We can reach up nice and high, opening up that chest. And think about bringing that right hip forward and down. And now let's do a little twist, taking that left hand back, right hand forward. And back up to the top. And exhale. Hands can come down. Now we'll work our way back to a little split. Toes can come up. Butts work back. Chests work forward. Find where we're at with a good straight spine. Hey. Good. Let's inhale. We'll come forward. And exhale. Let's go back for 3 breaths. Good. And now let's inhale forward. This time when we go back, we'll just keep those toes to the floor and open up the front of our foot. Good. And back to our lunge. Our right hand will stay on the floor. We're going to open up that left knee, open up our heart, start to turn. Our hand can come up to the sky if we would like. It can stay on this thigh if we want. Find where we're at today. We can reach back. We're lowering the right hip, lifting the heart and turning. Beautiful job. And then we'll slowly come back to the center. With this left hand, we'll reach back and find those toes. Bring them back toward our butt. Stay here for 2 more breaths. And then we'll release. Both hands find the floor. We'll step back into our child's pose. Good. And now we're going to begin to walk our fingers forward. We're allowing our hips to come away from our heels, and they'll just come straight over our knees here. Arms are out nice and long. Further we reach, the lower our chest goes, and we can allow that chest to sink down toward the floor. We're going to rest our forehead on our mat. And then we'll slowly begin to walk those hands backwards, and we'll find our child's pose again. And now let's inhale up to our little plank. And exhale, we're just going to lower all the way down to our tummies. Yeah, we'll take our left arm and we're going to cross it all the way over to the other side of our body. And our right hand just kind of spinks it out here. But we continue to reach those left fingers forward and then lower the right shoulder. So we're not trying to twist, we're trying to open up its shoulder. Let's do one more breath here. And then we'll slowly rise up, free that left arm, and we'll place it on the floor over here. And now the right arm reaches out to the right. We'll place that shoulder down onto the floor and we'll roll backwards toward that right hand, opening up the front of the shoulder. We can even take that left foot and begin to step back behind if we would like. And rolling back to our tummies. Shake it out a little bit. And now we're going to work on the right arm again, pulling it across our body. And then closing this left shoulder down toward the ground as well. Couple more breaths here. And when we're ready, we can unwind, free that right arm, and then we'll take that left arm out to the side. Lower the shoulder down into our mats, and we'll roll backwards. And rolling back to our tummies. Hands will come underneath of our shoulders. We'll tuck our toes underneath and we'll press back to a downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg back behind us. We'll bend the knee and we'll bring that knee all the way in behind that right wrist. And we'll set ourselves up for pigeon. Last little bit. We'll turn onto our backs. So we're thinking of our hips. We're bringing this left hip forward, the right hip back, and then we can soften this left leg back behind us. Thinking of keeping our hips level and even. Take a few breaths, find where your hips need to be. Use that exhale to relax. Allow your body to let go. Sometimes it gets scared and it tenses up. Use your breath. Allow it to feel that it's okay to let go. And then we can walk our hands forward if we would like. We can lower down onto our elbows. After a few breaths or moments, we can come all the way down. Into a fold if we would like. Good, and now if we're all the way down, let's come up onto our elbows or onto our hands, and we'll walk ourselves around to the left. And slowly we'll come back to the center. We'll help ourselves up onto our hands, tucking that left foot back behind us, and we'll slowly step back into our downward facing dog. Feel free, wag it out, pedal those feet. And then when we're ready, we'll lift that left leg and we'll set ourselves up for pigeon on the other side. So the left knee will find a spot right behind the left wrist. We'll square those hips up and then we'll let that right leg soften behind us. We'll take our time and gradually get in to the version of pigeon for today where we are the most comfortable. Good. And now let's walk our hands over to the right. And then slowly back to the center and up to our hands. Tucking that right toe back behind us. Let's step back again for downward facing dog, just so that we can wiggle it out. And then we can lower our knees to the floor. We'll swish our feet over to one side, and we can come back to our butts. Let's rock back onto our backs. Bring those knees into our chest. And now let's open those knees wide. We'll bring our elbows inside the knees and we'll hold our pinky toe sides of our feet. Flexing those feet, relaxing the shoulders, and allowing your arms to help those knees down toward the floor. We also bring our focus to our tails. Let's round that spine back down so that the whole thing is touching on our mat. And releasing the feet. Hands and feet are reaching toward the sky. Roll around in our wrists and our ankles. Flex and point, wiggle the fingers and the toes. And then one more big reach. And then as we exhale, slowly, 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 we lower those hands down to the floor above our heads. Our legs come down below our hips. Once we find the floor, we give ourselves one good last stretch. And another huge exhale as we allow everything to relax. We tuck those shoulders underneath of us. We close our eyes. We soften our jaw. We relax our tongue. We quiet our mind and we give ourselves the permission to just be still. We breathe in and we breathe out. Relax and recoup. And we deepen our breath. We wiggle our fingers and our toes. We slowly and gently come back into our space. Move our head from side to side and begin to increase the movement in our body. And we listen to what it is asking for. We give it the twist or the stretch that it needs. And then when we're ready, we'll roll over onto our side. Take one more moment here to check in with how we're feeling right now. And when we're ready, we slowly help ourselves up to seated. Inhale, lifting our hands up to the sky and bringing them together at the top. Exhaling them down to our hearts with a purpose. And thank you so much for all of you joining me this morning, for allowing me to help you through your practice, allowing me to see your happy little faces today. I hope that we got our Sunday off to a good start. I wish you a very, very happy rest of your day, and hopefully you guys have a little bit long weekend. You don't have to go into your Zoom meetings on Monday. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each and every one of you. And when